Right, we've now got to the point where the etching is done, and I've got no idea how it's going to turn out because I couldn't test it, so it's a matter of luck and guesswork. I'm now going to ink up the plate with printing ink, which is a misleading term because it's thick, treacly stuff rather than thin, watery stuff like you use in a pen. We spread the ink out, and additionally we might even it out a bit on the plate with a dabber, and that pushes it into the lines and into the hollows. And then we start to wipe it. This is a piece of scrim or tarlatan. The idea is to start firmly, again sort of pushing it into the hollows, and in little circular movements of the hand to avoid streaking of the plate. And at the moment we can't see anything of the image. It looks as if it's just disappeared. Gradually, as it comes out, as it becomes clearer, so my pressure, which isn't great to start with anyway, but my pressure gradually reduces until when the image is clearly there, I'm really just brushing it like a feather. It's quite unlike say a lino print, a relief print, where the ink stays on the raised surfaces. You cut away the parts that you don't want to print, obviously, and there's the depth of a quarter of an inch quite often on the lino plate. Here the depths are absolute microns, and yet they're different enough to make changes of tone. It's quite a miraculous process, and it's not at all mechanical. You couldn't do it just by anyone without knowing the image, just doing it. You've got to know your image. Here you press a bit harder, there you press a bit lighter, and part of the charm of etching, in a way, and also a disadvantage, part of the charm is that however hard you try, you can never make an absolutely identical print, which gives it the charm that every, as etchers say, every print's an original. But the disadvantage is when someone comes in to buy one and they want one exactly like that one up on the wall, and you find you haven't got one exactly like that. Now the plate's getting cleaner, and I'm wiping it round in little circles like this to avoid streaking. And before we print it, it's as well to wipe the edges, because otherwise you get a rather unpleasant black edge around the print. So just quickly wipe those edges with a clean cloth. And I'll finish off by wiping parts of the plate with a bit of tissue to get that surplus ink off. Just wiping the light parts of the plate, which hardly want any ink on them at all. We now bring the plate over to the press and carefully put it down in the middle of the backing paper, and then we know roughly where to put the printing paper. Right, now our attention turns to the paper we're going to print on. It's been soaking for half an hour, something like that. I use rather thick Bockingford paper, heavyweight, which I find suits my prints best. We take it out of the water and get rid of as much water as we can, and then we have to squeegee it to get rid of the surface water. It's got to be damp rather than wet. Now we scrape the water off, surface water. Now we're going to blot it just for further getting rid of the water. So the paper is just nice and damp, but not at all wet. Any surface water would spoil the print. So we're now ready to print, like so. And bring the blankets across. Now this is the moment of truth. Take the print off the plate, and there we are. That's come out reasonably well, but you can see it looks quite different to what it does on the plate.